Hey, this is shawnshawn here. I sell art on shawnshawn.co and specials on eBay. Today we're going to review Cesar Santos. So one really cool thing about Cesar Santos, as you can see in this video here, he's extremely excited, really great positive energy. And in this series, he does a painting in a sketchbook. So he does drawing in sketchbook and he does painting in sketchbook. I'm going to show the painting because there's more colors, it's more video cool, so to say, and let's go check it out. And then he's coating the drawing so it kind of preserves the drawing, which is a really cool technique. And then he's adding the paint right on top of this, so you can kind of do drawing and painting. It's a great on-the-fly kind of way to do your technique, keep your skills up. And he has these nice close-ups to kind of show you how he's blending the paint on a traditional wood palette. And he has like some of these good detail shots, which are really great for painting tutorials. You kind of get that feel. He's kind of hand-holding, it looks like. So it has more of a natural feel to it. He's changing the camera up, so it's really good. He does a little bit of time lapse to kind of speed up the process. Painting tutorials that are longer, probably paid, but so this is kind of the YouTube free stuff. So he's kind of laying in those values one by one here. And he's obviously drawing it really well, and then he's kind of just doing shades by shade by shade here, just adding them. And then blending, obviously with oil, you can blend on the palette, so that's what he's kind of doing, blending right on the sketchbook. Collabing with another really cool artist called Proco. That's his short name. His full name, I think, is Stan Prokopanko, so that's a little difficult, so he shortens it to Proco. So this is really cool discussion of how you paint the old masters and their understanding of oil painting at the time versus how it progresses. I really like this a really nice critical viewpoint between two different artists, nice discussion about old masters, how you paint them, and yeah, let's take a look. And they're showing this kind of advanced technique where they've gone from like that really lock stock, like blue, red, green kind of clothing color to like this blend. The cloth goes into the background kind of. So it's really nice. You can see how the masters have learned over time realism. So now they're kind of sketching on site, which is a really cool idea. Besides just going there and discussing the masters, they're actually drawing from the masters, showing their skills and those light shadows, subtlety, blending, and you can really understand what the technology of the day as far as the understanding of how realism was, proportion and all that, right from study from those skills. Alright, so now we'll go on to another thing he does, which is straight painting tutorials. So here he's painting on top of a dry surface, so this is called second painting technique. We'll see what it's about. So it's just kind of the finalize of working layer by layer. With oil painting, you really need like at least a week between layers, so it's going to be a really lengthy process. If you do 5 or 6 layers, you might be 5 or 6 weeks, right? So the longer you paint, or the more layers you add, it's going to be week after week after week. And some of these older paintings, like in the master's days, they might do 15, 12 layers with a really thin layer, and they build them was measured differently. They didn't have social media. They're focused only on painting, reading, sending cards, so they probably had more time to paint than we do nowadays. Here he's kind of showing how to paint, combine the colors, which is really important, which color he's going to use in the palette, so you always want to have that in a painting tutorial, so to say. And he has, again, some zooms in here on kind of the facial figures. You see, you know, what would be useful, and you see those details. So he has a kind of the establishing shot from afar with you get the picture and the artist, and then you zoom into just the details on the painting so you can really see how his subtleties in the painting work. So you can see as he kind of progresses, you can see how he refines those layers between the hair and the skin, which are really subtle, and he's using big blocking shapes and kind of just adding a few details here and there to kind of show that hair as hair, and then hair is really usually just made of shape. So here he kind of adds in those shadows and really rounds out the face. So that's really a challenge. You might have that light dark contrast, and then you want to darken a little bit on this side and just slowly kind of pull the roundness of the face, which he's showing you here how to do. So let's go on to the next video of Cesar. So here you have he's showing you, as everyone kind of suffered with the COVID shutdown, especially the really big cities like New York, Miami, LA, those big art centers are really locked down. The beaches were closed, all the museums closed, all the galleries closed. So for artists, it's just like, oh, what do I do? And he sells, I think, primarily through galleries because he's a really high-end, like hyper-realism. So he's selling a lot of work through the galleries, through the art fairs that are hosted by the galleries. So he's kind of like, what do I do? And so what he did with his wife, they kind of built out this van, did van life, and they're kind of doing this traveling tour around America. And he's really just based in Miami. So now he's seeing the Southwest, he's seeing the Northwest, Wyoming, Miami, Yellowstone, these really natural cornfields. And so here we're just seeing one of the sites that he's visiting and narrow down to where you're actually setting up. Where here he's set up in front of Mount Rushmore. And here we have some really nice close-up shots of him drawing the sculptures in the mountains to kind of see those values and really understand how to draw from those huge shapes in the Mount Rushmore. So it's a really cool drawing exercise, I would say, because it's in the middle. It's just different, landscape, different, you're doing rock, mountains, so that's kind of really different than the Miami scene, which is very flat, ocean only kind of. There is evergreens, but Everglades, but this is a very different climate, and you can tell around because the air is different, the light is different, the landscape material is different, the different plant and the foliage is totally different, so you're using different colors when he's painting. Obviously sketching is just pencil here and there to do the. So for the video aspect, it's really nicely done, I would say. So yeah, he has kind of a lot of different, he also has tutorials on like how you build your color palette, composition. So a lot of good structure. He was a finely tuned master he studied in, I think, Miami, and then he went to Italy to the old-fashioned ateliers where you study straight from the model and the landscape. And he got really polished, he studied really hard. I think he painted every single day when he was in Italy, so he really brought up his game significantly. Just, a lot of quality, a lot of quantity. So all that built up, and he just really mastered those skills for drawing, perspective, composition, color values for painting. So he's really, top of the game. Obviously his work sells for a lot of money. So yeah, but it's a great artwork. I think he'll just get better over time. It's a little out of tune with the contemporary art world, which is more in the abstract focus, versus this is, the old-fashioned realism, I would say, but he's kind of doing a little bit of a modern interpretation of realism, but staying true to those really high-core, high-value realism techniques. And that's Cesar Santos. Thanks for watching, guys.